Well, I mean, pretty much like when I was doing all the debates with him in the two mayoral elections, he just says what he thinks the audience wants to hear. I mean, I don't think he's actually got a real political strategy himself. I've never even seen him really as a politician. I think he came into politics because he wanted to be a celebrity and be famous. If he becomes Prime Minister, he has no plan for what to do with Britain. I mean, it will be a disaster.
You say if, surely everything seems to be going his way, Ken Livingstone?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it really does. I mean, I think the decisive thing was clearly the huge surge of support for Nigel Farage's party. Up until then, a lot of Tory MPs were deeply sceptical and worried about Boris being their leader because they don't think he is a serious politician. But now I think most have got behind him because we think he's the only one that can prevent them being wiped out at the next election.
What happens on October 31st in your view?
Well, I mean, literally, either we leave or we stay. All this talk about deals, which has consumed the last few years, is a bit nonsense because if we stay in the single market, I mean, we're bound by all the rules of the EU, but we've given up our power of veto over them. So I think you either stay in or go. And the reason I voted to remain, and I think basically almost every Labour MP voted to remain, only about 6 or 7 didn't, is because if you look back, before the EU was set up in the late 50s, 16% of Germany's imports came from Britain. We stayed out for almost a decade and a half, and that was slashed to just 8%. Then we joined. 7 years later, it's 18%. The bulk of your trade is going to be with your neighbours. You're mad to walk away from the biggest economy in the world.
Lastly, what's your greatest concern if Boris Johnson were to become Prime Minister?
We're trying to work out which country we'll immigrate to.